Here's a little bit of Venus mental gymnastics for you. I'm going to give you 5 words and you've got to unconfuzzle them within 60 seconds. Those words are Barbarossa, Barbaresco, Barossa, Barolo, and Barbera. So I suggest you pause this now and give it a go, ideally without using ChatGPT or Google, and then I'll be right back after the title screen and fill in any of the answers that perhaps you missed. So the task was to disentangle 5 needlessly samey words. Those words were Barbarossa, Barbaresco, Barolo, Barossa, and Barbera. Now, it's perhaps easiest to start off strategically and divide them. We know that we've got 3 places and 2 grapes, but there's also an outlier. So let's get that out the way first. The outlier is, of course, Barossa, because Barossa is a wine region in Australia, and all the other 4 are connected to Italy. Barossa is famous for its huge, big, fruit-forward, bolshy Shirazes. It's kind of, I guess, like the Lodi of Australia, except instead of having big, bolshy, fruit-forward, high-alcohol Zinfandels from old vines, you have big, bolshy, fruit-forward Shirazes from old vines. So that's Barossa, and the next on the list is Barbarossa. Barbarossa is kind of like Kaiser Soze, in that the name is out there, but no one is quite sure who or what it is. We know that Barbarossa is a cultivar name, and its earliest mention came referring to a grape in Tuscany, but there are no Barbarossa grapes in Tuscany. They seem to have disappeared as far as the book Wine Grapes is concerned. There are a bunch of other Barbarossas out there, but how do we know which one, if any of them, is connected to that very first ancient Barbarossa? Now, the rarest of them all is found in Emilia-Romagna, but there's another one in Liguria, which is also quite rare. The interesting part here is the one from Liguria is apparently connected to Tuscany. So there is a clue there. There are also some fairly strong assertions that the Barbarossa from Liguria is also connected to a Barbarossa in Corse. So while it does seem like we are slowly narrowing on the truth, we just don't have enough DNA information at the moment to make any conclusive calls. Next on the list is Barbera. Barbera, like Barbarossa, is a grape, not a place. This grape is most famously grown in the region of Piedmont up in northern Italy, although it is accepted that it is not indigenous to Piedmont. In fact, it probably comes from Lombardy just across the river, and it only got famous in Piedmont after phylloxera. Barbera is used to make wines in regions like Asti and Nizza and Monferrato. Ironically though, Barbera is not allowed to be vinified in Barbaresco, which is the 4th word on our list. Barbaresco is a place, not a grape, but all the wines in Barbaresco are made exclusively from Nebbiolo, not Barbera. And finally, the last word on the list is Barolo, which is also a place, not a grape, and it is also made with 100% Nebbiolo, despite its name sounding more like Barbaresco. In fact, you'd be forgiven for thinking that, due to the logic I've just outlined above, there should be out there somewhere a grape called Baroloresco, and it can only be vinified in the region of Nebraska, DOCG. Now, we're talking about all these B words because today's hand drink solo wine of the day is the Sons of Sugarland Barbera, which is made with fruit from the ward of Houdini in the Breede Kloof, and it's vinified by the hugely respected and incredibly talented young winemaker Rhiannon Borman, who is also the cellar master for his family estate of Boschkloof. And arguably, Rhiannon's most famous wine is the Boschkloof Epilogue Syrah. Now, if you've been enjoying this video so far, then subscribe to the Hand Drink Solo YouTube channel, where we have like 300 more videos just like this one. And give us a like, because it never hurt anyone, and it does help more people to find our content. Now, I am supremely excited about the new project from Rhiannon Borman called Saga Vineyards, which could hardly be a better match for the Hand Drink Solo Club if it tried, because their catchphrase is wines worth telling. This whole venture leans into the idea that every bottle of wine has a story inside it, but some bottles are more worth telling than others. And when I say new venture, it's not really a new venture. It's more like an amalgamation of what Rhiannon has been doing thus far. And that includes Patatsfontein, the Sons of Sugarland wines, and also a Cap Classique called Sprokkeling, which is left on its lease for 6 to 8 years. Kortebos fans can know that that will remain more kind of a Boschkloof second label and won't be part of Saga Vineyards. Now, back in the year 2000, Barbera was the 3rd most planted red cultivar in all of Italy. But in the 20 years since then, it has lagged a little and it's dropped down to 4th place, and it really doesn't show too many signs of making a comeback. However, that doesn't mean that it can't be delicious. This grape is slightly lower in tannins than grapes like Nebbiolo, obviously, and it has amazingly high, pristine acidity, and it can have all sorts of fruit dynamics that range from black fruit to blue fruit to sour red cherry. It can be amazing. However, if it's made badly, it can also be super simple with acidity that's all out of whack and really just be kind of gross cherry juice. But rather than talk about it, let's get into the glass and see which version of Barbera Rhiannon Borman has prepared for us. Now, when we give it a sniff, well, I mean, I feel like the nose gives it away immediately because there is just so much going on. No one can accuse this wine of being simple because there is bay leaf and red licorice, some raspberry candy, red cherries, even a slightly riper hint of blackberry. When we give it a sip, straight out of the gate, you get this really very impressive, pristine, almost citrus acidity. It's quite surprising. And there's a bit of a almost essential oil citrus bitterness in there. And this is then immediately followed up with a cherry fruit, strawberry sweetness, some red plum. So you have this amazing interplay of the bitter citrus zest, the bright sour cherry acidity, and then the sweeter fruit that comes around it. And all of this, it's kind of dancing on your tongue. It's a light wine. It's by no means heavy, and yet there is so much going on. So it has all the intensity you could hope for, but it's weightless. And then as you kind of move into the tail, oh, well, that citrus goes right through the middle, but then there's also slightly sweeter cherry candy, maybe some raspberry sherbet, and it just goes. Got such length, a really very impressive wine. Now that's all we have time for today, but if you want to dig deeper into some of the incredible Italian cultivar wines that are being made in South Africa, I've left links to 2 videos, and both of them explore cultivars from Piedmont being vinified right here in South Africa.